And now, as the drums of war are being beaten against Iran, I urge you to be cautious, those of you who are seeing this, because first, the old adage goes, they came for the Muslims, and no one said anything. Then they came for the Occupy protesters, and no one said a thing. And then they came for the unemployed and the underemployed protesters, and no one said a thing. So I encourage you now to heed the warnings and accept this responsibility and this opportunity to once again protect and secure what we have as a nation, as a people. Our constitutional rights are being chipped away at, whether it is the Patriot Act of 10, almost 11 years ago, or the most recent act of betrayal, the National Defense Authorization Act, is a violation, a chipping away, a weakening of our civilization, of our rights and our privileges. The military personnel and others throughout the security system of the United States, of the defense systems of the United States of America, has taken an oath to protect, to defend the U.S. Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The act of the President and the Congress, who saw and oversaw the implementation, the passing of this act, and the signing of this act into law, are they betraying our Constitution? Are they to be considered as domestic enemies? The sinister silence of the media and others that should be speaking out concerning this, that sinister silence is also complicity. This Congress and this President has indeed betrayed the hopes and aspiration of our ancestors. The parable or that story about the frog in the warm water and the heat keeps being increased until the frog is completely cooked without ever knowing it. The progress that this government is making toward eroding our constitutional rights, it is placing us as the people of this nation, as the people of this hemisphere, in the same predicament as the frog. Article 3, Section 3 of our U.S. Constitution deals with the concept of treason. It deals with the concept of due process. And I would hope that our President, as a constitutional lawyer, would have looked at this and would have considered what that particular section, that particular article, especially this particular article, says about treason, says about due process, and his obligation to uphold our Constitution. But we have seen what this President has done. We have seen what this Congress has done, contrary to this document. Thank you for taking time to view this message, and I hope that what I'm about to say will give you an opportunity to think and make choices as we move into our future. President Obama made the statement that he has, quote, an obligation to act on the behalf of the American people, unquote, in spite of the actions of Congress. Well, during the time that the first blog was being posted on this site, President Obama signed into law the National Defense Authorization Act, which deprives American citizens and others of due process of law. This infringement, this betrayal, this weakening of our constitution, of our civilization, this act further erodes who we are as a people. 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago, this government actually enacted the so-called Patriot Act, which infringed upon our constitutional rights. And now, as if trying to actually carry out that old parable, or that story about the frog in the warm water and the heat keep being increased until the frog is completely cooked without ever knowing it, the progress that this government is making toward eroding our constitutional rights, it is placing us as the people of this nation, as the people of this hemisphere, in the same predicament as the frog. So I invite you to consider what has been done. Our president, as a constitutional lawyer, has apparently decided to go along to get along by implementing this National Defense Authorization Act. This president, along with this Congress, has indeed betrayed the future of our children, of our descendants. It has this Congress and this president has indeed betrayed the hopes and aspirations of our ancestors who wanted to create a nation based upon constitutional law so that we can live our future based upon our potential of being free, of being productive, of being all that we have been created to be, to our fullest potential. The National Defense Authorization Act. That act, signed into law now, is, in my opinion, and in the opinion of others who consider themselves patriots and who have taken the oath to uphold the Constitution against enemies foreign and domestic, that act, the National Defense Authorization Act, in my opinion and in others' opinion, is unconstitutional. It is a display of an arrogance and a hypocrisy that is counter to our Constitution. The military members of all of our security forces, actually, whether it is from the CIA to the National Guard, to the civil servants, within our Defense Department, and to many others, whether they are veterans or patriots who are veterans or who are in the military, whatever status one holds as a citizen of the U.S., this act, the National Defense Authorization Act, is a betrayal of everything that we have taken an oath to uphold. So we must recognize that at this juncture in our history and our civilization, that as children of God and as citizens of this nation and of all the nations within the Americas, I invite you to consider, with the erosion and the weakening, the misuse and abuse of our system of government, with this weakening that is occurring today, what will be left for our children and our descendants? Are we not only allowing others to weaken and betray what we have been blessed with? Are they betraying the future of our descendants, as well as betraying the hopes and aspirations of our ancestors? I invite you to consider where we are headed as a nation. I wish you to consider those people in our Congress, a Congress with a 12% approval rating, consider those people, consider that Congress that would actually weaken our civilization. As the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, an armed force that raises this hand and take an oath, so help you God, so help me God, so help us God, that we will defend our Constitution. The commander-in-chief of these forces, I believe, after examination, after consideration, I believe, is betraying that oath. The Congress, who served up on the platter to this president our rights, our constitutional obligations, our constitutional privileges and rights, this Congress has betrayed this oath and has betrayed what we are about as a people. The first blog that was posted on this site spoke of those who are weakening our civilization. As that blog was being posted, our president was signing into law the National Defense Authorization Act, and by doing so, continued to weaken our civilization. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. And the future will show whether we are indeed genuinely seeking to safeguard and protect our civilization and our culture. If it is the will of our Creator and our Sustainer, let us act with the pen or with the sword. You who have taken an oath to defend our country with the sword, recognize those within Congress, those within our governments, those among your commanders who are betraying the oath that you have taken, those who choose the pen instead of the sword. Utilize yourselves in the best way appropriate to do what you can to uphold the strengths, to uphold and protect and strengthen the pillars of our civilization. I ask you to refer to the first blog and identify those 7 pillars and see what you can do and what we can do to do what we can as a people to uphold, to protect, and to strengthen those pillars of our civilization before the traitors weaken those pillars and cause a collapse of our civilization. I invite you to fulfill your obligation and your rights as citizens of this nation, as citizens of this hemisphere. As a citizen of the Americas, let us be an example and stand up for what we have been blessed, what we have been prepared, what we are preparing to stand up for and uphold for our ancestors and for our descendants. Let us be one in what we do, if it is our destiny, to uphold and protect that which we have inherited, so that we may pass it on to be worthy of being inherited. Thank you, and I once again ask that you be alert, observe the warnings, observe the recommendations, and be active in shaping our future. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. Peace.